All right, so everybody bear with me a second here. I'm gonna put some poll questions out here, but I gotta create them first. So bear with me a minute here.
And Matt, I have to be co-host to do the questions.
I figured that's what it was. So did you do them already, or should I just do them
No,
quick
I
here?
didn't. I didn't.
Okay. Bear with me, give me a second then. Should have been doing this as I were introducing everybody here.
Again, as we kind of like last year, I'll go while Matt's doing this. If there's any questions, anybody, use the chat. I'll keep like last year, I'll keep track of kind of what's in the chat as you're going. And if some stuff pop up there, we get at a timely moment, we can jump in there and answer the questions, or else I can just answer it quickly. Not saying I know everything, because I don't. So don't ask a rules question because I don't know it. So
And if you have questions too, the chat's a good way
yeah,
to go. Otherwise, people are welcome to come off mute if you can as well and ask as
yep,
regards to
exactly.
questions.
Otherwise, just use it and we can ask it for the whole group if you think it's something that the whole group would like to see. So
Yep. All right. Last question here. So I apologize. That's I doing this here quick as we go here. So this is going to be I've never done this before. So there we go. All right. Matt, how I get one question at a time here? Or do I have to do
you
five
have to,
different polls probably?
yeah, you do.
Okay. I will have to redo that then. All right, so question number one, I'm just trying to get some demographics here, who's on the call here. So question number one, you should be seeing, are you on a varsity crew? All right, cool. So we got about 80% of you guys, of everybody on the call here is on a varsity crew, so that's helpful. So we should have no question or no issues with the questions or anything like that, so that'll be good. All right, question number two, when I get it up, is going to be for the 80% of you that are on a crew, what position do you work? right, there you go. Question number 2. All right, good. We actually have some back judges here tonight. That's good. I don't think we had any back judges that attended last year, so we
Yeah,
can't pick on them too much here tonight, I guess. All right, cool. Thanks everybody for responding to the polls there. So, all right, so I'm going to jump in with the couple plays here to start with here. So, the first play I have should be an easy one here. A couple definition plays here. So, let me share my screen actually. Everybody can see that. So the first question here, we're going to look at the first play here. We're going to look at the formation first off. Start with hopefully an easy one for everybody. If you look at the formation here, the ball is being snapped from about the 39-yard line. And should have a poll question on this. If everybody thinks this is a legal formation or not. And so
I'm gonna say technically no.
so yeah, and I would agree with that. So this is early in the game, especially if they're close, we're going to try to put them to where they want to be. But in this case, both receivers are more than a yard off the ball here. I don't see an arm up there, and I can't see what's going on at the bottom of the screen here. But I believe this should be a foul for illegal formation. An illegal formation here. We got 5 players in the backfield. I don't think there's any flags on this play. But this is play 120 something in this game here. So at this point, well, even the top receiver, if you saw it, is checking with the line of scrimmage official at the top there to say that he's off, and there's an arm up there. So this should have been a foul for an illegal formation at this point in the game. Probably have warned whoever needs to be warned by this point, and should have been a foul. I don't think there's any flags on this though. When we have a formation like this, so I don't know what most line of scrimmage people do, so I'll just say what I used to do when I worked line of scrimmage. Had some kind of signal with my partner across the field to say that we have an illegal formation. Would usually tap the flag in that case, because it looks really nice here in this case for both line of scrimmage officials once the ball is snapped to throw their flag for the illegal formation. So yeah, so that's, like I said, hopefully an easy one for everybody that this should have been illegal formation here. All right, play number 2. This is another definition play here. This is going to be whether the runner is down or not on the tackle here. So this is going to play in a loop here, so you'll kind of see the play here. Is there a question?
No, a couple of them just said that there was a flag down on that last play
Okay.
in the lower bottom right. So
Perfect.
yeah.
All right, so this play, you'll see a sweep down to the bottom of the screen here, and on this play, the runner is tackled, but he lands on the person tackling him, and so it looks like from the video that I'm seeing here, and again, somebody can jump if I'm incorrect here, if they think something different. I see the receiver or the runner getting tackled and landing on the defender that's making the tackle and is not technically down at that point. I don't see an arm. I shouldn't say an arm. I don't see a wrist or an elbow or a knee or anything until he does the second act that pulls him down here. So it looks like to me that we're whistling this play down earlier than it should have been whistled dead. And I'm just gonna see here, I think we shorted the runner about a yard on this play as a result of that. I don't think they're down until right there, which puts them about the 11 or 12-yard line.
Yeah, the main thing is we just have to remember that got to have something other than, an elbow, an arm, a knee, other than a knee down to make him down. So if he does land on, it's a continuation.
All right, so I think everybody hopefully is good on that one. We'll go to the next play. So the next play, I actually, for all the college people on here, I have a 2-play vignette here for everybody. So I'm gonna play the next 2 clips here together. Actually, I'll play the first play here, and then I'll go to the next play here. So what we have here is a kickoff, and I'm gonna have a poll question here after we watch the video a little bit here. I'm gonna run it through one time here first. And we can see what happens here. And then I'll put a poll up there and then we'll talk about the play here. So here we go. Anybody should play it again? I'll play it again here. All right, so I'm gonna start with the good on the play first off, and this is for all the back judges out there. The back judge on this play, who's lined up at the kickoff line, does a really good job on this play of busting down and getting a spot where it looks like the ball has gone out of bounds, and does a very good signal here. I'm going to go back a little bit and go right to here. So so next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull up the rule on this. So actually I'll do the poll first here. Give me a second here.
So basically what she's saying is.
All right, so I'll put this in a loop here so you guys can, everybody can look at it while they're answering the question here. So question number 3 here, does the R player at the beginning at the front of the play or the front line touch the ball in this play?
I don't know. I think this is silly.
Got 9 answers so far. We'll see what we come back with here.
Oh, I haven't seen. How many do you have? We can go with 4. Yeah.
Got about half of everybody in the meeting here has answered the poll here, so I'll give a few more minutes or a few more seconds here, if everybody could take an answer here. Just looking for yes or no here. So the fun thing about this, especially with high school film that we have here, is it's not always the clearest film that we get here. So we'll just talk about this play here and kind of figure out what can or should happen here. All right, we got 20 answers here, so I think I can share the results. Hopefully you guys can see everybody can see the results there. We got about almost half and half here. A little bit more think that the ball was touched by the player, and then was not touched by the player here. So like I said, the good on this is that the back judge got down and made a ruling on this play here. I'm gonna bring in the next play here, and so I'll show you what you did. So on this play, the crew, we got the ball marked out at about the 41-yard line with a nice signal by the back judge. And the next play, you'll see that they spotted the ball at the 46-yard line, which means that they ruled on this play that the ball was not touched before it went out of bounds, and we have a foul. However, I didn't see a flag on this play by the back judge, so that's one way to improve the play here is that if you think the ball was not touched, then you would have a flag. So I'm going to go to I wrote down the rules here that are applicable to this here. So all right, so here's the applicable rules that would the rules that apply to this. So Rule 6.1, Article 9. This is something I've screwed up in the past until recently, that if the ball is kicked out of bounds that's untouched by R, you would have a foul, and then you'd have the four different options that are available to you. And then if the ball is kicked out of bounds and it's touched by R, then the ball is put in play at the inbound spot. So in this case, it looks like the crew has ruled that the ball was not touched, and they put the ball, obviously in this case, you'd have the 25 yards and as an option, but the ball hasn't gone 25 yards, so then they go 5 yards from the inbound spot. So if they have a foul here, you assess it correctly. However, I think in my case, my opinion is that the ball was touched here as well by the returner. And so this should not have been a foul, and the ball would be at the 41-yard line. So Matt, I don't know if you answered it or if you want to add to that at all.
No, you answered it. So yeah, I think somebody just said that the U dropped the beanbag. But in this case, the beanbag would be if you're dropping a beanbag, you're calling for first touching by K, right?
Yep, correct. Yeah,
Yep.
a touch
So
by R in this case is not a beanbag.
Correct. So the beanbag, and this just goes, me starting out and George starting out, you dropped a beanbag on everything, fumble, backwards pass, everything. So, but now, the beanbag on this case would be as if you got first touching by K.
Right. Because
then technically, R can pick it up and do whatever they want with it and get the ball back there. So you went beanbag, yeah, it symbolized that the beanbag that he saw a touch, but it kind of the misuse of the beanbag in this case.
So, one thing I would add here, though, if the note was the umpire dropped a beanbag, the umpire is on the opposite side of the field at the 50-yard line. So if he or she is going to drop a beanbag on that, they have to be 120% sure. Long way away, and a lot of players in between, and a scramble at the sideline. So if indeed it wasn't a beanbag by the umpire, which is on the bottom side of the screen at the 50-yard line, you better be 100% over 100% sure before you do that. Again, it's area of responsibility, and as Bill and Monye say, if you're going to be fishing somebody else's pond, it better be a whale and not a minnow. So.
Yeah. And I would also,
George,
also agree that you probably, if the U did have that, he needs to be busting his butt over there. He kind of casually walked. And I'm not, again, we need to clarify on this, just like Jason says, we're not here to nitpick anybody. We're not here to call anybody out as a crew or anything. This is just a learning experience. So we're not trying to pick on anybody. So, but in this case, if you were dead set, if that umpire was dead set, he saw a touch, like George said, he was 120%. He better be hightailing it over there to say, I got a touch by R here. So that's what we've got. We've just got to make sure that's the time to really hustle.
And George, the counterpoint to that, as the umpire, in a 5-person crew, you're the only one on that receiving line. You might have the best look at it of anybody. The line of scrimmage and the referee are going to be no help, and the back judge has not got a great angle. on things. You know, this is unfortunate with a 5-person crew. There is kind of a hole, and that's right where they kicked it. So, you know, I guess I don't mind the umpire making that call. You know, I guess I'd prefer to do the wind the clock signal rather than the beanbag. But
Yeah.
I will admit, winding the clock on an onside kick is about 17th on my list of things to worry about.
Well, in that case too, if you have a touch in here, then we can always go back and say, okay, we need to take a couple seconds off the clock. Especially with the
Right.
majority of high schools now using a microphone, a field mic. So to your point, yeah, it'd be great to wind the clock, but we can always adjust for that as well.
And that's why starting the clock is very low on my priority list there. You know, we can always fix that.
That's it. At my house. So if you were, if Atlas were to be at your house, would it be cookie, or would it be like? He's not being shy. When Nora comes over.
Does anybody have any other questions on this one?
I just add one more thing on the beanbag. On this kick now, again, by definition, once the ball goes 10 yards and has touched the ground, K can legally touch it.
Correct.
It's not an illegal touch if it's gone beyond 10 yards and has touched the ground or a player. So again, the beanbag would only be indicated of an illegal first touch or a fumble.
Yeah, and I actually have that on this as well here. So there's the rule right there George is referencing, rule 616. And so this will come in play actually too for the next play I have here, which I'll get to. And I guess the other thing I'm going to add too is if the umpire in this case, if he's dropping a beanbag, I'm assuming that there's a touch. Make sure you're coming in and sharing this information with the rest of the crew as well, because you could save them the assessing a penalty in this case erroneously.
Yeah. Regard one way or the other, if the umpire sees a touch there, you're running across the field and having a conversation with your back judge before we make any kind of decision or tell the R to do anything.
But again, the only reason to beanbag is if it was beanbag before it was gone 10 yards.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And hopefully by the time the referee gets up there, the back judge and umpire in this case have already made a decision. I have a touch here, or nope, it didn't touch, or whatever. There's been a discussion. So by the time it should be just pretty simple. That's in the perfect world, but obviously there's a conversation that's got to happen. So.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing I thought about with this play too, so there was a play in the NFL a couple of years ago, probably a lot of years ago now. A Packer player had a kickoff rolling next to the out of bounds line, so the player stepped out of bounds and then touched the kickoff. You cannot do that in high school. That's why I bring it up. In high school, if you intentionally go out of bounds and then touch, or if you're out of bounds and touch a ball, that's actually illegal participation in high school. Now, we're getting more and more college rules down into the high school ranks. And so that, Nickleby may change that at some point here, but for now, that's the rule in the rule book is that that's illegal participation. So you cannot, as a player, cannot step out of bounds and then touch the ball and hope to get the kickoff out of bounds foul.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another kickoff play here. And this, again, I'm going to bring this up again because this kind of goes in here with this. And this goes with the second red line I have here. That's any K player may recover a free kick if it's both touched the ground and gone beyond the free kick line here. So we'll play this one in a loop here. You guys can see what happens here. Everybody can see what happens.
Need to share it, Matt.
Oh, sorry. All right, so a couple of considerations in this play, and I'm going to mix up the college and high school rules at this point. So somebody hold me honest here.
I'm not sharing.
Yeah, still you weren't sharing.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Did you have the wrong screen?
Probably. Is that better?
Nope.
No.
How about now?
Mm-mm. No. There you go.
There we go. Okay. Figured it out. Okay, hold on a second. Let me reshare
Oh,
that.
now it went back.
How's that?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So the first thing I had up here is the rule here. So I guess I probably didn't share the last rule either, but this kind of comes into play here, the second part where I've got highlighted in red here that the K player can recover a free kick if it's both touched the ground and gone beyond the plane of ours free kick line. So and note, this is the first play of this game here. So this is also reason to be ready from the get-go that they have this play. So I'll let it play a little bit here. So the first thing I'm going to say I'm going to screw up right now is the difference between high school and college rules because it's June and haven't thought about it for a while. I can't remember if it's illegal in high school or not to kick the ball straight into the ground like that off the tee.
It is.
It is. Yep.
This should be a foul at the snap.
Yep.
Back judge or umpire could get it.
And so then the second consideration on this play is when does the kicking team member touch the ball? And I should have put a poll together here, but I'll just show you the what happens with the ball here. So in high school football, again, like I just showed the rule here, once the ball is, if the ball is still in the air and a kick, a kicking team member cannot recover it. The exception to that is on a scrimmage kick, if there's no receiver in the area to catch the ball, then they can do that. They can grab the ball. But this case is a free kick. And so all kicking team members are barred, cannot touch the ball until it's hit the ground. Otherwise, it's kick catch interference. So I'm going to fast forward it here. I don't think any R player touches the ball. Right there, it's hard to tell. But the ball does touch the ground right there. So in this case, the kicking team player is available to touch the ball and recover it here. Let me get to the next rule here. So here's the rule here. So it's rule 656. But like I said, if the kicking team member caught the ball in the air on a free kick, you would actually have kick catch interference in this case.
And at the same time, you could have, if it was still in the air, can you do a fair catch?
Yes, the receiving team member can do a fair catch if the
Yep.
ball is still in the air.
And that's one thing, that's where you're on this type of thing, the chances are your back judge umpire may not see that. You might have to get that as deep wing as the line of scrimmage, or the referee might have to get that deep. So you have to watch for that hand up in the air waving for it. I wouldn't consider that 41 waving a fair catch signal, but you might have to see that back there. I got one back in a playoff game a few years ago as a referee standing in all the way up there on a play like this, a fair catch. So, you know, everybody needs to be aware of that hand going up in the air. as if you have something like that for a fair catch.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this is the very first play of the game here, so this again highlights the need to be right away from the get-go. From the time we blow the whistle and lined up for this kickoff here, we have to be ready for everything.
So Matt, one other thing come here, a couple people asked about, is there a blindside block on the play?
Oh, I didn't even see that. I don't think there is in this case because I think the hit on the block is initiated from the front. But you know, I guess that the definition his view is towards the ball. So I don't know what your thoughts are, Matt, on that, or George.
It looks more like a collision,
Yeah,
but no, it's a good
number
thing to
20,
be
they're
looking.
saying number 25.
A lot of stuff to be looking for there.
Yeah,
And
number 3 and 25, that would be at kind of your bottom left of your screen there.
Yep. And to Jason's previous point too, with the 5-person crew here, the umpire's probably looking at what's going on with the ball here, because those things to worry about, that the back judge is probably the only one that's going to be able to see that block.
Yeah, the umpire, despite being the closest one to that block, is going to have no chance at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so that's going to have to come from the back judge or from one of the guys standing on the goal line, and they're going to have to, if they're going to throw on that, they're going to have to come a long ways. Anybody is.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else from the chat on this one, or anything else you want to add?
How do we feel about the K4 being offsides? Right there, the second one in. If you go back, I mean, it's kick.
Ball's kicked right there. I think he's onside.
Yeah, I think he's good there.
Yep.
Now, if it's beginning of the game, you might want to talk to him. Yep, exactly. It is a pane of glass. So beginning of game, the unfortunate thing is we all have that rule. If you don't know if it's going to be an onside kick. We all been taught that through all the years of mechanics and what time of the game. You don't know it's going to be an opening game, opening onside kick. But as the game gets going, an onside kick, then it's a pane of glass. If they break it, it's an offsides. This one I wouldn't worry about personally. Now, if it was a yard, probably on an onside kick, even like this, I get it. Now, if it's a regular kickoff and it's a half yard or a yard, you probably let it go and talk to him afterwards if it's a normal kick.
One thing that I tell anybody who wants to listen to me, which isn't many of you, but anybody who wants to listen to me, is there's no.
It's all right.
There's no such thing as a surprise onside kick.
Wow.
Because if you are B or U in the scenario, if it's a regular kick deep, great. Then we just move on. Like that's easy. If they kick it deep, it's easy. The thing you have to worry about here is an onside kick. So there should be no such thing as a surprise onside kick. You should be thinking onside kick every time, because if they kick it deep, okay, big deal, play on.
No, but you're exactly right, Jared. Sorry, you said nobody wants.
I know you were joking.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right that you should always be ready for an onside kick and breathe a sigh of relief if the ball goes deep.
Yeah. Beanbag in hand on all kicks like this.
Yep. All right. Oh, this is the end zone view of that. All right, so this play here, so we're out of some more of the definition type stuff or some of those other kicking plays here. So This is just a normal run play, and the reason this is on here is the line of scrimmage person on this does a great job of getting behind the play in this case. And so I just want to highlight, get a run play like this, especially a sweep like this. The line of scrimmage person that the ball is coming towards, you want to protect yourself and not make sure you don't get rolled up by any players. So we got to play here in the middle of the field here. The person that the line of scrimmage does a great job on this play of getting behind the play and then coming up and getting a spot. Be able to officiate from behind the play here, and then you'll see them come up and we'll get a wind and a spot. So
this is also on the spot, Matt, where you can use your offside, your opposite side as a mirror it. At least you're going to get close if he gets blown up big. If the play goes out of bounds and he loses it, if he doesn't know exactly, your offside guy should be able to get you within a good vicinity of it.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And nobody's, I can't even tell where the play ends here in this case. So majority of the people in the stands are, certainly players can, but majority of the people in the game here have no idea where this play ends at. So if you get it close, you're probably gonna be fine in this case. The only time you don't want to do this is when we get closer to the line of scrimmage, or I'm sorry, the goal line. So I think the next play is a goal line play, but it's is it from the 7 and in you start moving towards the goal line, and then from the 5 and in you immediately go to the goal line in high school?
10 to 5, 10, you go to the 5, 7, you kind of go halfway,
Okay.
and then 5 on you, and you go guaranteed, and then you just back off the goal line all the way to the fence.
Exactly. Yeah. But yes, thank you. So, you can tell I haven't been line of scrimmage for a while. But yes, so that's the only time you don't want to work from behind in this case, is when it gets closer to the goal line. Like Matt said, from the 10 to the 5, you're working your way in front of the play, and then from the 5 and in, you're going to go right to the goal line and back up. And so, our crew, pregame, what we'll do is we'll make sure, they set up the fields with all the placards. You can see the goal line one at the top of the screen here. We put those back as far as we can to the track even, and that just gives us room to operate when we get to the goal line. To Matt's point, just backing straight up because you want to be able to rule on the goal line. That's one of the most important lines on the field. So, but otherwise, in this play, line of scrimmage did a great job of getting out of the way and being able to come up and rule on this play, make a spot. So the other thing, I guess the other comment on this one too is that the play ends close to to the first down line to gain. And so it's always good to know for every snap, especially line of scrimmage people, to know where the first down is at. Because then it just looks better if you know they got a first down or not, if they got the line to gain. To be able to kill the clock right away versus, coming up, rolling, and then looking up and saying, oh, they got a first down. I need to kill the clock and send the chains. All right. So this gets into areas of responsibility again here. Again, I'll give kudos to the back judges in the room. The back judge in this play, we have a run off to the right here, and you'll see the back judge throw their flag for a hold, which if you watch it again here, the tight end goes up and tackles a guy, number 33, which is the flag that we have here. So this is just highlighting for everybody in the room. I know George is huge on this to make sure you're not watching the ball, but watching your area of responsibility. And that's why this is on here, is that the back judge in this case does a great job of looking, at the blocks. The responsibility in this case was the blocks in front of the runner, and is able to get this this hold by the tight end here. I would say the line of scrimmage person probably has a view of this as well. So make sure, again, you're not watching the ball necessarily. I guess there's some blocks there that you probably don't have it in front of the play. So the back judge is going to have this. So again, just make sure you're watching your area responsibility and not the ball. And that's the reason we're able to get this, I think, is this block is that it's watching the area versus the ball.
Matt, I'd also like to say that he continued after throwing his flag, he continued to watch the play.
Yep.
And you can see he kind of committed, he came running up there because he thought the play was going to be stopped, but then he got back. But then he continued, he let his flag and he got to the group of people to let clear off. Then he went and talked about the flag. You continue officiating until the play's over. Then you can always, don't go directly to your flag or tell somebody. You continue to watch up to the dead ball stuff. So, just continuation of watching the play as it goes, even after you throw your flag. So that's a good job there too.
Yeah, agree. Completely agree. How are we doing on chats or anything, man? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Yep,
Right.
we're good. The other thing I would also say, yeah, he did commit and he started coming up. The last thing you want to do as a back judge, in my opinion, is, and I can speak from my back judge that's off a little bit, or the last couple of years, he stepped up and he stepped right into the running back when he broke it. So, he thought the play was over and he got rolled over. So we just got it. Back judges stay back there. There's no reason to come flying up there until the play's at the end. And then otherwise you don't know what might happen. So, there's no reason to come up flying up there like that. So, but you did catch yourself and ended up going back. So I just don't want to have anybody get hurt as well. So,
And in that point too, that goes for everybody, the umpire,
Exactly,
the line of
yes.
scrimmage, everybody, stay out of the way, preserve yourself. These guys we're not getting any younger as a staff here. And so it's pretty easy to get caught up in stuff. To just try to do your best to get out of the way and make sure you preserve yourself here. I don't think George wants to be back on a field anytime soon, trying to fill in for somebody because we got some people hurt. So
No one wants to see that.
you almost had to fill in for me, George, last year for us, right?
Correct.
All right, so like I said, we're going to the goal line here. In this play, we have a ball coming out from the 1, I believe it is. So the ball, it's first and 10 at the 1 yard line. And so the line of scrimmage, in this case, they do a great job of pinching in this play because it looks like the tackle happens very close to the goal line here. So the one comment I bring this up on here, they do a good job of covering here. They come in, no signals or anything until they get to the ball here. And it looks like we have a spot that's outside the goal line here. The one thing, at least, I'm going to pick on the official at the top of the screen here, that it's, anytime, certainly when we're going in from the 5 yard line, you're supposed to go right to the goal line. Same thing coming out from the goal line is this spotted from the 1 here. The line of scrimmage should just take a step back to the pylon, and you'll have a better view of the goal line here and make sure that the runner is out of the end zone or not.
And I would also add, when you are coming on the field, and it's just perception, if you've got them in be standing in, if you're going to call a safety, make sure you're standing in the end zone. As you're running in, if you got them out, make sure you're in the field of play. It's just perception. It's little mechanics I've been taught from years in the past too, from everybody. It's where you're coming in and when you're running in there. These guys are running right on. It's so close, but just if you can run in the field of play or run in the end zone. Obviously, if you got it safety, you're going up with safety no matter where you are. So.
Yeah, but like I said, I think there's a big pile up at the goal line here. So I think the line of scrimmage overall did a pretty good job of not signaling anything until they got to the pile to figure out where the ball is at.
But I agree, the ball guy thinks that, the ball boy thinks that there's a safety there. So does that one coach that's down on the 12 yard line. So that's right. After the play on that, I'd be walking back up to the coach and just remember your, coach's box.
I'm sure the announcers were going crazy too for their
Yeah.
local access for a safety too.
Yeah, exactly.
You have something to add, George?
Yeah, a couple comments. Number one, on the local media, I can verify that from having done a game in that stadium. But that's many years ago. Thing that is excellent here, and we don't always see that, are the wings are coming in and selling their spot. They're not stopping at the hash and saying he didn't get in the end zone or he got out of the end zone. Nothing irritates a coach more than these guys if they'd have stopped at the hash and made their decision, you know, right or wrong, the coach is going to be on you the rest of the game. You've got to get in, go in under control. If you get to where players are in your way, stop, move them out of your way. Don't go around them, because now you've lost perspective of your spot. But they did an excellent job of coming in and selling that. And that could be for a first down play on the 20-yard line or the goal line. That perception that Matt said is worth it in gold. And the lack of it makes for a long evening if you don't do that. So at all levels.
Yeah, Matt mentioned it. The goal line going in or going out is the most important line on the field. So, you know, this is where you really, really want to hustle. You know, so, and sell it, like George says, you want to sell it.
All right, so this play here, so this is gonna be a play from scrimmage here. And this is gonna be one of those jet sweep type handoff / pass things here. And so, you know, this is getting late in the game here. It's play 140 of this game. And I'll just let it play through here, and talk about the play here. So what you're seeing here is that it looks like, to me anyway, the quarterback is tossing the ball forward to the receiver that is running in front of him, like a jet sweep motion, which makes this a pass play, not a handoff. You'll see the separation from the quarterback's hands, the ball from the quarterback's hands, I should say, to make this a pass play. So if there's a bobble of any kind by the receiver and the ball hits the ground, you should have an incomplete pass on this play for coverage. And so this, again, the line of scrimmage is, you're going to have to help out with this, especially with high school, at least at this point, the referees and the umpires in the backfield. Likely referee and umpire do not see how the ball got into number 23's hands there. So line of scrimmage, hopefully you're seeing that action to have an opinion on this. This is really hard because, you know, how many times you think, well, it's motion, and then not pay attention too much to 23 there. But this is where it, you know, again, your antenna's got to be up, ready for anything, every single play, to be able to see this, if this is a pass or not, and then be able to rule accordingly. Back judge may be able to help in this case too, but there's a lot of bodies in your 20 yards behind the play here, 24 yards behind the ball here. So it's going to be hard for you to see as well. So again, just it's on, you know, talk about just antennas up, be ready for anything. And hopefully line of scrimmage can see this play here.
And this is something where I know I've been seeing, you know, you've been seeing a lot more, this quick flip or whatever you want to do forward. So yeah, being aware of it, you know, this is where the chats, you know, the emails that have been sent out that get, you know, that Matt puts out every week on usual plays or whatever. This might be one of them that, hey, they run this play 3 or 4 times a game. Got to be aware of it or something like that too.
Yep. And I will say that, you know, on that too, the first play of the MIAC season a couple of years ago, this happened and the ball hit the ground and it was ruled a fumble versus a pass. And just because, just not, you know, that's where the awareness comes in and being ready for something like this. To Matt's point, the scouting and things like that happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Do you have something, George?
I was just going to add, we were properly defining this as a forward pass. Everybody in the 90% of the people in the stands think a forward pass has to be overhand. It's the direction of the ball from where it was left the quarterback's hand in this case. So forward, this is underhanded or a little pitch, if you will, shuffle. Does not have to be an overhand toss in order to be considered a forward pass. You can have this on a sweep play where towards the end of the game and they're trying to keep the play alive, and they'll toss it forward. Forward is forward, backward is backward, regardless of overhand or not. And that's not understood by the vast majority of the fans.
All right, so this play here, so it's a middle screen. And so we get into definition here a little bit again and coverage on this one for the center that releases on this play here. So I'll let it play through a little bit here. The ball is snapped based on the line of scrimmage. The ball snapped at the 39-yard line. And you'll see the ball caught, you know, you can determine 39, 40-yard line. It's hard to tell in this case. But it's caught maybe right at the line of scrimmage or maybe a yard beyond the line of scrimmage. So this is where you get the definitions of the free blocking zone and how far downfield alignment can be. So remember the lineman, the restrictions on ineligible receivers downfield. It's when the ball is released. And so hopefully everybody's seen this enough. I'm going to try to pause it here when the ball is released here. I'll go back to it. So the ball is released right there, and we got the lineman at the 40-yard line here with the ball snapped at the 39-yard line. So you may want to weigh in if this is an ineligible downfield or not. Now the answer is no, it's not an ineligible downfield. So like I said, it's where the lineman is at when the ball is released. And I think we have, you know, line of scrimmage based off at least the hat at the bottom of the screen here. Looking at the play here and is able to rule on this and makes I think a correct call on this that it is not ineligible downfield.
So Matt, it expands two yards beyond.
Yep, correct. Yep,
like
it's
that.
2 yards
Yes,
beyond
yep.
line of scrimmage in high school. Yeah, so to your point, Brad, he could go up to about the 41-yard line. The lineman could, and he'd still be fine in this case.
And you got it now. You got to remember that this is the line, you know, with the umpire being in the backfield, this is the line of scrimmage call 100%. You know, so you got to be aware of it. This is kind of in the middle of the field. You know, the opposite side you use, you know, you could use the college mechanic. The ball's going away from you. You got the opposite guy should be watching that right in that area. This is kind of in the middle, but probably this guy should be the closest to us should be watching this more than the one where it's near side. So, but this is line of scrimmage 100% on this type of a play.
And I think Nickleby has said it in the past, you know, this is what the one rule that we mess up as officials a lot, because I think the ruling tends to come of, well, where is he at when I look at him versus when the ball is released. And that's where you get in trouble in this is that you're looking at the lineman and then looking back at the quarterback and seeing, well, the ball's gone or vice versa, I guess, and he's already downfield too far that you have an issue with it. So it's just important to remember that it's when the ball is released, not where the lineman's at when you happen to look at him. All right, so we'll go to the next play here. All right, so this is going to get into a little bit of philosophy now, a little bit here. So you actually see it, unfortunately, you see it better here. So watch the cornerback here at the bottom of the screen, and also watch the cornerback at the bottom of screen number 18 here, and then the quarterback as well, where the quarterback looks to throw the ball here. So I'll let this play a couple times so you can kind of piece it together, and then you'll see the flag there come in at the end here as well. So what you're seeing here is that we have a flag for defensive hold at the bottom of the screen here, when the quarterback never once looks at the bottom of the screen here. And so this gets into the philosophy of, you may or may not have a hold, but if the quarterback is not looking at that area, then it's not a hold. There's really no advantage gained or lost by a potential hold happening if the quarterback's never looking to throw in this way. The other thing I'll add too is this, I don't think this is really a hold either. It doesn't really look like the receiver loses a step in his route. So I don't even think it's a hold in this case either, but certainly not because the quarterback never looks in this area. So I don't know if anybody wants to add anything to that at all or not. But it's again, it just gets into the philosophy of, some advantage, disadvantage that if the ball's never even thought about throwing in a certain area, then you probably don't have a foul there. Because it doesn't have an effect on the play at all.
I would say this is just where you hear that, you hear those guys have been doing this for 30 years say, just slow down.
Yeah.
Like let's
Exactly.
pretend that this is a takedown. Okay. You see it. All right, what happens? Oh, the quarterback rolled the other way and threw it out of bounds the other way. I got nothing. I'm probably gonna, even just for optics, I'm gonna run to that D-back and say, don't do that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got nothing. Just slow down,
No, I
piece it
would add
together.
on that, Jared, unless it's a safety foul,
Yeah.
if
Oh,
it's
for
something
sure.
safety, then it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
If he does a personal foul or some defenseless, whatever, safety, you call it no matter what. On this case, like you said, I would go up and personally talk to him just so he knows that you're looking that way, you're watching him, probably coming, the back judge through this. So, but you got to be smart, use common sense and good judgment in all of it, So, that
Yeah,
should get you that should make him be aware that you are watching him. So,
yep. Holding has to have an impact on the play, right?
Yep. Most fouls have to have an impact on the play. Certainly a, unsportsmanlike or something to that effect, unnecessary roughness, safety thing, probably not, but that kind of falls off, but most other fouls have to have an effect. All right, so this play here, so last year, and sorry to our back judge on this because this is our crew here, maybe. So last year they put in a definition of added to the definition of a player that's for potential blindside block to receivers that are looking for a catch here or for the ball here. And so let's play through here a little bit. And we can kind of watch the play here. So again, the first things here, I think the back judge here does a pretty good job of making sure they're behind the play and getting their head around to watch it. Unfortunately, the action kind of got caught a little bit here, but I think they make a good recovery here and be able to get to behind the play to be able to make a ruling on the play. I think the patience is good on this as well, to say that, kind of watch the play, let it process, and then you'll see reach for a flag here in this case. So I'm going to throw a poll question up here. First off, and we can talk about it. Whether you think this is a defenseless receiver based on the new rule in 2023. And, blindside block on a defenseless receiver, as the question says.
The video's pretty choppy coming over
Yeah.
over the Zoom, but
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that you can't really see it from the sideline view, so unfortunately, this is how we got here.
if Aaron Goffman made the call, then it's right.
Obviously, I support the call. It's my crew, but I think the reason I support the call here. So I'm gonna end the poll here. 62% said that yes, this is a blindside block on a defenseless receiver. The reason I think is so you remember the blind, just like a blindside block on just a regular block. If you lead with your hands, you're fine. I don't think the cornerback in this case led with their hands. I think they led with their shoulders. So I think, like I said, if the cornerback comes in with open hands to try to break up this pass, I don't think we have an issue. I don't think what happened in this case. I think the cornerback in this case led with their shoulder, which would make this a blindside block in this case. And it is I believe it's a blindside block. It is a blindside block. It's not a UNR or anything like that. Although it's superfluous. They're both 15-yard fouls.
So I'd say, I mean, can we maybe spend a little bit more time talking about that rule? Because I know we messed this up several times during the season. And I think it was because I don't know if we just didn't spend enough time on it or what, but I remember this came up in our very first game and the coach said something to us. And I know that I gave him a deer in the headlights look that I didn't even know what he was talking about. So can we just spend just a little bit more time on this rule to make sure everybody, because it's different. It's the only place in all levels of football where we see this rule.
Yep. So what specifically do you want to talk about? So
Well, just the fact that it's a rule,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
because you would think it falls under like a personal foul, UNR, illegal blindside block kind of bucket. But it's a rule that's very specific to high school federation football.
So the rule was added, like I said, it's in the I don't have my rule book in front of me, so I don't have the defenseless player definitions, but it's part of that rule that put this in for a defenseless receiver. And then there's a rule 9 that talks about what a blindside block is, personal fouls, those things. And so is that where you're going, Jared? Just again reiterating, knowing your definitions first off, that this is a definition of a defenseless player because they're watching something else to where this came into effect last year.
So there's a couple of levels to it, right? Because this looks like just a hard hit on a receiver that's going up for a pass.
And certainly in 2022, that would be the case, right?
Yep.
Right.
I mean, even when you're watching football on Saturdays, when you're watching football on Sundays, this just looks like a receiver or a defensive back who's making an otherwise legal hit, playing the ball to try to break up a pass. But in high school, now we have this rule that's different and it jumps out. And part of the reason I'm making a deal about this is because we as officials, and especially you line of scrimmage officials, you need to be able to communicate this clearly to the coaches because they're not going to understand it as well because they don't see it on Saturdays. They don't see it on Sundays. And now we're making this call. So it's being able to communicate that also to the sidelines that says in high school, I mean, even saying something as simple as, they don't want defensive backs blowing up receivers like this when they can't protect themselves.
And I think the way I would look at it is he playing the ball or is he playing the player? Okay. And it's kind of hard, like, because it chops at the end here, but it kind of where Jared was going is, and I've heard Nickleby say it many times. If you're going for the player and the ball's not there yet, and his concentration is on the ball, they're defenseless. if that player is trying to catch the pass, or the defensive guy is trying to catch the pass or knock it away without going through the receiver. So again, where do you think they're concentrating on, or where's the contact coming from? And he's beat. Okay. So the receiver's a little bit behind him. And if he goes to tackle him, he's fine. It's not illegal, but he's not trying to tackle him. He's trying to blow him up, because and one adage is, when they're beat, they cheat. And again, this guy is receivers of about 3 or 4 yards behind him. And the receiver or defensive guy is just trying to make up ground, and he's going for the contact and not trying to tackle him. Contact is not chest below the chest level. It's above it. And that's what they're trying to tell the coaches for the last several years. Lower your target. If he'd have done that to the middle of the body, he probably would have been okay. But it's up high. And I think it's a good call. It's a critical call late in the game. And, I understand all coaches' emotions, but that's why we're there. Somebody's got to make that call.
And,
Yeah,
not that this should play into this. This was the first round of sections here. It's a tight game. It was a 7-point game, I think, throughout the entire thing until the very end, unfortunately. But, it's win or go home at this point. And so very tight game, highly contested here. And, so you got to be able to make this call here in this situation. To George's
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too, Matt. I was working the wing that this kind of opened up to, and I was a long ways away from it. But like you said, I don't think we had called one of these the entire season. And when this play happened, it was one of those where I was just like, that's the definition of that rule. And I was like, Aaron, please have a flag. And he did. And I was like, he kind of doubted himself, but I supported him 110% because it was, and to your point, George, where, they always talk about the guy carrying the brick. This guy looked like he was carrying the brick, and I was glad that we had the flag.
Yeah.
Matt, the reference in the book, it's 233:16. It really defines a defenseless player. And it's under 9-4 as illegal personal contact in the rule book.
Thanks, Toby.
Yeah.
The one thing though that I know, I mean, for all you wings out there, I would tell you, and this is what I tell my wings too, is this is a critical moment where you need to be a good communicator to your sideline. This is where you man. Now, if they're just gonna rant and rave at you and not listen and just scream, okay, then you can't. Then they're choosing not to communicate anymore. But in this situation, this is a key moment. And if you want to build the trust with the sidelines, the trust with the coaches, the trust with the schools, this is where you have an opportunity now to step in and say, this is a hit they want out of the game. Okay? They want this hit out of the game. He's a defenseless player, and you can't blow him up anymore. And communicate that with us. It goes so far. Like I said before, if they're not wanting to communicate with you, then forget it. But if they are willing to engage you in a conversation, this is where you become one of those people on the sidelines where when you walk on the field, the coach just kind of goes, oh, good, we got a good one tonight. Is when you can communicate these kinds of things to the coaches. You help yourself, you help your crew, and you help the next crew that's coming in.
Yeah.
I guarantee you one thing, if the offense and defense had been reversed on this, the coach that was upset with the call would have wanted the call if his team was on offense. You don't say that to a coach.
Yeah.
But again, that's the rose-colored glasses and the emotion. You understand it. Like Jared said, you say, Coach, here's what we had. Here's what we saw. Here's why we called it. They don't have to agree with us, but if we can tell them why, we've done our job.
but if you are going to be, if you can talk to them, and if they're willing to listen, you can tell them what you had. And Jared said, you're your biggest, you're helping out your crew, you're helping out next week's crew, you're helping out whatever it is, as long as you communicate. That's why you need to know the rules. The wings need to know the rules. Everybody needs to know the rules, but the wings really need to know them, because they're going to have to, explain it. You're going to have to explain it to them. The other thing about is, in this case, is in a play, if you may want to bring this, if this was a play like this, it might not hurt to have the referee come over with you, especially if they're really into you, or they're, I can almost guarantee, and Matt, I don't know if he was yelling for a conference, he wanted to talk to you, but it might not hurt to have a second person there too.
Yeah, and I don't remember on this one because of what happened later in the game, when we did get pulled into many conversations with coaches later in this game. But yeah, you're not wrong. It's, especially, a coach gets met anytime a coach really gets up, it's anytime you talk to a coach, period, really, it's a benefit to have somebody else there with you. So it's not a he said type thing. But especially in a case like this where it's a heated game, tight game, and kind of a big call here, to be able to explain what happened here and why this is a foul. All right. So this is another blindside block, so I'll let it play through here. It looks like the Fridley coach is really happy with this call here. So this again is highlights the need for the referee in this case catches this, but again highlights the need for everybody to not watch the ball. Instead, kind of watch, especially in this case, the scramble situation. You're looking for, I always say, you're always looking for the asshole in this case. And the referee found him for the blindside block here, while the quarterback's scrambling around. So again, blindside block definition here. The offensive player in this case uses a shoulder to a player that's not looking at him, and doesn't take much to lay him out, but he's able to lay him out, and that's a foul 100% of the time. It's a safety thing. Doesn't lay him up that big, but it's still, by definition, that's a blindside block. And so it's definitely scrambles in this case. Scramble plays like this. You're going to see, you just got to be ready for situations like this. Like Jeff said, who's got the brick in their hand? I look for who's people that are swimming kind of upstream, which the receiver in this case, number 5, definitely is. And commits the foul here.
Yeah, Matt, the video is really choppy. Are you talking about white 44 gets blocked at about the 25-yard line?
Correct. So
like we can't right there.
Here's the hit.
Okay.
So does it help if I go slow motion here?
Yes, it does.
So now, if remember, so
it helped when you circled it to see that it was coming. So
so the
hands extended would have been no problem.
Yep.
The other good thing the other thing about this, you gotta remember now, if he hit him with the shoulder here, would this have been a blindside block if he would have led with his hands?
And like George just said, if he uses open hands in this case, we shouldn't have a problem with it. It's
Correct.
the fact that he uses shoulder that's an issue. So, keep telling me, because obviously I see something that you guys aren't seeing here, trying to watch through video here. So if there's issues, keep.
One comment I'll have on that last play there, the umpire here, I don't know who it is, but after this play is over, he looks like he's just walking back essentially to the previous spot. And my question would be why? Why are you doing that? You've got a flag down. You may think you know what the foul is, but you need to get in there and be in part of that conversation so you know what's going on and you know what the penalty enforcement's going to be. Plus, as you know, as the umpire, part of your job is to be the traffic cop. So, doesn't look like there's much potential scuffles here, but if there are, especially on something where somebody gets a blindside block and might get up mad, you got to be there.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say
Yeah.
too, as the referee, umpires, if the referee's the one throwing the flag, be the person to slow the referee down
Yeah.
as well, and make sure that everybody knows what the referee has in this case.
Yeah.
So you get communication to sidelines, figure out what you're going to do, and just get the umpire, the referee, to slow down.
Especially in a game where you've got a field mic, and I don't remember if Fridley has one or not, but if the referee's has a flag and is gonna announce it, have the referee tell you as the umpire what he's going to say. Give him a chance to rehearse it first before he gets on the mic. So, we've got plenty of time to go back to that previous spot and enforce that foul. We can do that while the referee's doing his referee stuff. Just get over there and be active and be useful, I guess. So I'll get off my soapbox now. You can move on.
Thank you. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this play here. I'll try to play it here. So in this case, we're going to watch the tight end at the bottom of the screen here. So you're going to watch this play right here.
You're gonna have to go forward slow, Matt.
Yeah, it's very
okay.
choppy.
It's really choppy.
How's this?
So he goes low.
Yeah.
All right, so I got another poll here. I know we're an hour 20 into this. I only have a couple more plays, I think. So this is more to see if everybody's still awake. All right, so we have about 3/4, 75% think that this is a foul. I would agree with the 75% that this is a foul. I have the rule here. Hope you guys can see it. First off, so rule 932 is the legal block below the waist rule. And then it talks about the free blocking zone. So the definition of free blocking zone is listed there as well. I'll give a second, he can kind of screws that. But the free blocking zone is it extends it's a rectangle 4 yards either side of the spot of the ball and 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And then I will go to the next here. So yes, you can block below the waist, given these certain conditions. That's rule 217.2. And then 217.4, the free blocking zone disintegrates when for block below the waist when the ball leaves the zone.
So is this a tackle or a tight end?
So that's I'm going back to the player first.
Tight end.
It's a tight end, so he's the third person. The player's the third person from the ball. So chances are, you can't see the splits here, yes, but chances are pretty high that they're outside the 4 yard you know, we don't have the tackle box in high school. We have the free blocking zone. But generally speaking, it's roughly the tackles. So chances are pretty high that this tight end is lined up outside the free blocking zone to start. The other thing to note is that the quarterback is in shotgun formation, and if you look at it, it looks like to me they're standing 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And so I'll go slow again here. You can see when the block happens. Because the other thing they changed a couple of years ago now is that they want the block to, you pretty much have to go right at the snap for this to be
Yeah, it
legal
has to
block.
be immediate dive basically diving at the feet immediately.
Yep. And so, going backwards here, you'll see the snap happen, especially in a shotgun formation to Matt's point there, it has to happen immediately because by the time, you know, it's a quick snap to the quarterback, now the ball is out of the zone already. So we will give a little leeway in this if they go straight down, but the tight end does take a step and then goes low here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, the line of scrimmage official, that's his call. Okay, he's looking in there, the umpire's looking at tackle, guard, center. Okay, so the only person that's gonna see this is the referee at the bottom of the screen.
Right here.
They've gotta be looking in there and
Yeah.
see that. And again, I can't remember if somebody mentioned it or not, but basically the free blocking zone philosophically is tackle to tackle. And obviously as a tight end, he's outside that zone just by nature of that. And if they're wide splits, it's a little bit tighter, different than that, but there's no way that tight end can block low, whether it's immediate or with a delay, because he's not in the free blocking zone. Though that's a knee injury waiting to happen.
Yeah, the line of scrimmage guys, you have no reason to be looking at your wide receivers. It's not like they're getting off the line. There's a gap between them. Your key is always the tackle. You can't see the tackle, but you got the tight end. The next person that might be able to catch this a little bit, if they're looking, might be the umpire in this case, or actually, yeah, umpire in this case, but it's definitely the tight end. And theoretically, if you know, well, I guess the back judge might be looking in there too, but theoretically, but this is a line of scrimmage all the way.
Yeah, the back judge will be looking over here right at the receiver because
Yeah.
that's unbalanced with this way.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Line of scrimmage has got to get this.
And the other thing is for line of scrimmage officials, at the snap, you're looking for line play, and that's going to tell you run or pass.
Yeah.
If they're backing up, that means pass. If they charge out like they did here, there's no reason to be looking at any receivers or looking for ball. You're looking to see what's happening on that line of scrimmage, and that one just opened up in front of this official very, very well. So.
I got a few more plays, but we're already at an hour and a half for the meeting here, so I'm gonna move to end the meeting here. So I'm just gonna see if there's anything chat wise or any other general questions or comments at this point for these plays. So anything in the chat, Matt, for stuff?
Nope, they're just you know, there was comments about that, you know, the guard, center guard, and in a play like this, it can be easy to miss this. But you know, that's why, but at the same time, you know, these are the plays, these are a safety play. We've got to look in there. George mentioned that your tackle on your line of scrimmage, that's your key all the time. And that's going to tell you what's going to happen. So if you're looking through that, getting this play, I can guarantee would get you a good mark up by you know, because you caught it. So, but
yeah, and I think all I was saying, Matt, in the chat was just this is an easy block to talk yourself into this being legal.
Right.
correct.
Because
Yeah.
you see a lineman go low that's really close to the snap, and you just feel like you don't want to nitpick it.
Yeah.
But we got to get it. We got to know that that's the tight end. We got to know that by philosophy he's not in the tackle box, and so we can't do that.
So when you know, a line of scrimmage guy, when you're coming out and you're looking for your eligibles, your wide receivers, your tight ends, who potentially could be eligible. This is one that you got to have a key, you know, as you're reading, you have to kind of know that. So that you can watch, that you need to watch him too.
So first off, thanks everybody for calling in tonight and sticking through my technical difficulties to start the meeting here and throughout the meeting. Hopefully this is beneficial to everybody. George, have we put out the next meeting yet? I know we're looking the end of July.
No, I will be putting that out tomorrow, but inside information for you guys still online. It'll be Monday, July 29th. Again, 7 o'clock, 7 to 8:30. We have our excuse me, preseason meeting Sunday, August 18th. There will be more emails coming out with other training dates that we'll have, but we have set the date for the next Zoom meeting for like this one. Be different place. So again, encourage you to come back as well that night, but we're doing 2 of them because not everybody can make it at the same time. But again, thank you very much. Matt, good job. And enjoy the rest of the summer, everybody, and take a look at the rule book as you get a chance.
Yeah, I do want to add, George, that, you know, with the football committee, with Matt and George and everybody kind of, getting this all ready there, we do have some other opportunities that for getting on the field like we had last year up at Maple Grove, but then there's other things that are coming up, actually some inter squad scrimmages too, prior to the scrimmage week, that George obviously will be putting a lot more stuff out here probably in July. So we've got some more opportunities this year to help people, the first years especially, and everybody. So, but I want to thank everybody too.
Yeah, and scrimmages will be Saturday, August 24th. That's the only day that high school league allows them to do scrimmages with other schools. So that's why it's all lumped into that one day. But like Matt said, there'll be some schools scrimmaging amongst them at their own teammates, and we're getting some information on those, and we'll get that out. But keep August 24th Saturday open as well.
And last thing I'll add too is that I think June 30th is the deadline to register with the state. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure you do that, or it's going to cost you extra after that. They did, yeah. So make sure you get that done. And everybody enjoy the 4th next week. Don't enjoy it too much that you're missing fingers or anything, but enjoy the 4th and have a great summer here, and hopefully you see you at the end of July here.
Yeah, and also thanks, Matt, on registration. That's true for lower level officials as well. All of our game assignments will go only to officials that have registered with the high school league, lower level, the non-varsity level or varsity level. But again, that deadline is the 30th.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.